there, fellow beings, and welcome to This Week I'm Learning, the podcast where we cast out our net to find the tastiest nuggets of wisdom and bring them back here for all of you fine folks. This is episode 79, recorded February 23rd, 2022, and I'm your host, Brandon Vader, also known as Captain Dracanis. Down below me, we have Seeker4761, also known as Colton Roper. Next to him, we have Tim Rhind, also known as Fake Farang, and then directly across from me, and last today again, Cody Stratman, also known as Psychonitrous. And is that the beautiful city of Bangkok?
Or Krungthep Mahanakan. That you might have to get used to saying instead of Bangkok because of them apparently changing the name, or I'm not sure if that's going through. But that's some of the biggest news around here. Yeah.
I mean, I guess stuff. If that's the big news, that's a good thing, right?
Yeah, I would rather have news like that.
Yep. So, how's everybody's week doing? I finally have my voice back. Sorry for pushing recording back 2 days.
That's okay. But, I did it as well. I had to get
unacceptable. Well, mine was good. My week was good. It was interesting. First of all, we had our pool pump die. And I learned something about how you have to deal with Thai people and saving face. The short story is, abbreviated, it died on us. Our pool people came in and took the pump away and said they couldn't fix it. And said that we'd probably have to buy another one. It'd be about 20,000 baht. We said, well, that's out of our budget. It's about 800 Canadian dollars. A little less than that. So we looked around for the recommended pump, and we ordered it from a town called Chiang Mai, and it was 12,000 baht. And our handyman guy that we call, he did pool stuff for about 10 years before, and he installed it for 1,000 baht. So I got it in for 13. So then I asked for him to get my pump back, because I figured, well, it's got a good electric motor on it. You never know. Electric motors aren't cheap. I don't really have a use. I'm not going to build a lathe or anything right now, but you never know. And I found out, he says, the guy I sent it to, without my permission, went and repaired it. I think, huh? Yeah, it cost me 4,000. Well, we know our pool guy said he probably could repair it for about 1,000 baht. So I think, oh, yeah, right, okay. Oh, so I said, well, I'll just take the parts off and bring it back. And so I said I have somebody who's going to buy it for 3,000 baht and fix it. So eventually he said, no, I'll just bring it back to you. So we got another spare pump. We didn't pay any more on it, but my wife had to do it in such a way that he feels like he's doing us a favor. Whereas in the West, we would have. I wouldn't have yelled at anybody in the West. I would have said, well, you didn't have permission to keep my pump. You never came and asked me.
Yeah, you did wrong.
You can take the parts off. I'm not going to freak out over it, but I do want my pump back. But if you do that here, then the guy loses face, and you could have an enemy for life or worse. It's just it's a very strange way of having to deal with people. But luckily, I have my wife to go through it. So now the guy feels like he's done us a favor, and he feels like he's kept his face. And it worked out in the end. But yeah, that was part of my week. Went to a great 1 week festival at a Watt here, and it was just phenomenal. I'm going to be doing a video on that. And they actually they took our photos. They had a tourism thing taking photos of people for this. I don't know how they're going to use them, but yeah, it was kind of funny. So I'll put my photo up here. We got two of them, so semi-professional photos. See, no, same shirt. It's been washed.
Okay.
One photo there.
And are those cookies?
No, those are actually palm seeds. That's what inside of them is what you get your palm oil or.
Well, no, the
sugar.
previous.
Well, no, the previous picture.
Oh, these ones here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? I'm not sure what she's. I'm not sure what she's carrying.
No, what
They just
you're
put-
carrying.
You're carrying
Yeah.
cookies,
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Aren't those cookies?
In your hand?
I don't know what they are. They're just They're props.
Oh, it's like, are they
Some sort of
good?
Thai culture
Were they
of props.
delicious?
No, I
don't know.
if they
how do
were
I
real.
Thai-
3 days
Thai
later, so
Yeah. That was my week.
Nice.
Cool.
Cody?
My
your
week, it was pretty much more learning how to read scribbles and yeah, lots of homework, lots of so I've got to do my visa renewal tomorrow, so I had to get the paperwork for that. So one of the reasons why the podcast got pushed back, between my paperwork and Dracanis's or dead throat. Yeah. The podcast is not quite as fun with 2 people as it is with 3 or 4. So,
Yep.
But yeah, otherwise
Thank you guys
a good
for
week.
delaying it.
Oh, I did sit in on an airsoft game here in Thailand, in Bangkok. I found a place. So I went to the end of the BTS line towards the airport, and wound up, talking Thai a little bit, and then just settling on English, wound up sitting like in the middle of a CQB match because they've got this old building with like 2 floors, and it was really cool to see how they do it, and like the how they like have respawns and stuff compared to how we used to play. The ranges that they're fighting at are definitely shorter than the ranges we used to fight at. But
I don't think anyone there was using a sniper rifle that could draw blood either.
No. They have a 350 FPS limit on their guns.
Okay.
So
that's
everybody.
it's quite a bit
pronos it.
softer.
Yeah, I think one of ours was shooting at like, we were estimating like 400 or 420 feet per second or something crazy. But yeah, I don't think Mini will be playing anytime soon, but I think I might try and go this weekend. Well, we'll see.
Nice.
Colton, what about you? How was your week?
nothing interesting happened. Next.
All right.
Just a normal week. It's cold tonight here, and it's probably going to snow, but that's about it.
That's cool.
Not for Mr. Shorts and Sandals over there.
Yep. I have to notice I'm wearing a fucking coat. So I hate my life right now.
In Arizona.
My previous hometown there, Winnipeg, has had this year's been the year with the 3rd most snow ever. They've had so many blizzards
Wow.
this year. They keep getting dumped. The backyards are like 5 feet of snow.
Ooh.
It's crazy.
That's
Aren't
insanity.
you glad you don't have to shovel all that?
Oh, I'm glad I'm not there living that anymore. That's when I think, even when my life is boring here, it's like, oh, yeah, okay, I'm happy.
Fair enough.
Took a long time, though, to get here, though.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we move
Brandon?
into...
Fuck Brandon then, right?
Yeah. Fuck me, I'm always forgotten. It's all right.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Brandon. I'm sorry. You had a sore throat. We'll move on. Yeah.
I was sick. I'm done.
I thought that was it.
I installed RGB strip lighting around my room.
Nice. Either that or the cops are at your house.
Yeah,
Emphasis on the strips.
red and blue are like the best color. I bought the cheapest strips I could. To be fair, like they're-
Evidence on the strip light.
Gotta buy the newbies
Yeah.
or whatever they're called.
No, there's definitely better ones out there. The ones I have are like 3 inches between the LEDs.
Oh,
So it's
okay. Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
Yeelight. YEELIGHT. They're good. They're really good.
yeah.
If you ever
I
want
was
to try
looking
those.
at some really good
Control
ones,
them
but
by
they
Wi-Fi.
were individually addressable. but they were only like a centimeter between each diode. But they were pricey. They would be what, like if this was my place and I was installing this for like longevity, that's what I would have went with, and then some track lighting. But
I have the E-Light ones on for probably at least 12 hours a day, every freaking day, and I've had them for 2 years, and they're still going strong.
Yeah, they look pretty nice.
Okay.
They're pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can change the colors, or they can do with the app. They can do patterns.
Gotcha.
Patterns as well, candle flicker or whatever. And sorry, don't let me hijack your topic.
No,
but I use it, for not just for decor, but for security when we're away. I put it on flicker so it looks like the TV's on in somebody's home, sort of thing.
Yep, and see, I've got a smart plug out in the living room that I kind of do the same thing with. Like it's on a timer regardless of if we're here or not, and then I'm actually able to tell it. It's a randomization plus or minus 10 minutes from that start and end time. That way it's routine, but it's not like, hey, his lights come on every night at 7:07 or whatever. So
good.
But I found this little controller that I'm getting ready to play with next. This is a Shelly RGB W2, and they basically make a bunch of these like Internet of Things switches and relays. And when I was looking on the home automation forums, these were like these are what you need. Use these. Don't use the stuff that comes with the strip light.
I wanted to put more Wi-Fi controlled lighting switches, but I discovered something about Thailand, and I think it's the same in the UK. Is at least in Canada with our code, and I'm sure it's your code, you have a neutral at your wall switch. They don't here.
Oh.
They don't. The switch only works on the one side, so there's no neutral at your wall switch. Of course, your neutral's at your load end, but nothing at your wall switch. And you need a neutral to power the Wi-Fi on those things when they're in standby.
Yep.
Otherwise, you have no circuit. So I have a whole bunch of these things sitting around until I.
So you need some sort of battery for all of them, which that would drain battery because you have it constantly on.
Yeah, or run a electrical to it.
Or or put ones that don't have a switch, a physical switch on them as well, or a touch switch. Just put them at the load end, but that's a pain too.
Yeah.
So I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet. But
just
things to think about.
Put Google or Alexa in every room of the house, and then you can just yell at Google.
Yeah, Google does a number of things right now. It does the fan. It does a couple of my outdoor lights. It does my LED lights, the air conditioner, alarm system, but doesn't. That's about it. And a couple of cameras.
Fair enough.
I know people can watch me if they want to, but Google can watch, but I can't see anything. Nothing to see.
Gotcha.
Come on, Tim, give me the old helicopter. It's fine. I love it.
Yeah. The elephant dance.
And on that note,
okay.
Tim's awful confident in himself, ain't he? Anyways. The fucking giraffe, motherfucker.
Okay. Next.
Okay,
topics?
Cody, you want to introduce the topic since I am the peanut gallery this week?
We're moving to our new form. Our new form. It's not our final form yet. So Colton is apparently simultaneously simulated. Don't know what that means, but yes. I had to read it 3 times because I was going to say
I wonder if it's related to
the
background I have of this random green text that's falling in rain form behind me. It's not falling, it's just a static image. Huh? Could be related, maybe not. Who knows? Anyways, Tim's going to get to the damn core of it, son of a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he's going to do. God damn it.
Yeah.
So this is back in the...
It's a centering experience.
Blasphemer.
Cody, what does start... This is a long one. Oh my god, do I get paid by the word? What does Starbound, Fallout 4, and Minecraft all have in common, but not quite 7 days to die? That's it.
Okay.
And, okay. So I guess Colton's first.
Tell us about your simulation.
Is it a stimulating simulation?
Could be. If you like to it. Whatever you want, baby. So, as I said, kind of related to my background, one of my favorite movie franchises is actually The Matrix. Do you guys like The Matrix, at least in general, the idea of it? Just have you seen the movies? Do you know what it is?
Huh. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Saw it in
I'm not
theaters.
Sure about the fourth one, but yes.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Well, I mean, I actually recently rewatched the original trilogy as well as the Animatrix in preparation for me watching the new one, which I have not seen yet, but looks interesting and sounding off of Cody's rousing referral for it, I might be slightly disappointed, but that's okay. I love me some Keanu Reeves. That man is in the Matrix because he never ages. Anyways.
Yeah.
So obviously, since we all are familiar with it, and if any listeners aren't, it's the basic premise is that reality is not real, but in fact, a computer simulation. So my mind was already kind of in a philosophical mood when the YouTube algorithm actually started giving me videos based on this very idea, which, again, feels weird. Very strange coincidence, but thank you, Google. Probably heard me say the word Matrix too many times, and now it's like, ooh, here's some content for you.
He needs some tinfoil hats now.
He needs to really get interesting. So these were very specific aspects of that specific idea. These videos, like one idea is how if we were in a simulation, the question is what would actually need to be simulated. Arguably, the only things that need to be simulated would be like the conscience of living things. So if you take an object like our phones, a simulation would have to simulate that you are holding on to a glass brick with a screen on it. But if you took that phone apart, you would see a simulation of the actual innards and the wiring and everything, but not necessarily when you are not looking at them. So for right now, for all we know, there's nothing in. If this idea was true, there's. Oh, that's kind of cool. Actually, what happened there? Ha! With the phone. Kind of funny. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So. Like I said, if you look at a chair, for example, you don't really need to know, if you're simulating it from our perspective, you don't necessarily need to know that it's made of billions of atoms. It's just, it could be an empty shell for all we know. Which
there's a good,
kind of...
Sorry to interject, but there's a really good video somewhere that shows like game development, and it shows, as the character's looking around, so you're seeing it as a third person, but the game is really first person. But you're seeing that as the character looks here, it shows all these trees and stuff, but it's like a flashlight. As they look away, everything disappears. So it's only
the same
showing...
concept. If you're like in a third person, first person view, and all of a sudden the camera moves in a certain way, all of a sudden you're seeing the inside of the character with just its eyes, its mouth, but you're not seeing any innards. It's kind of the same basic concept, and it's actually very similar to reality, which is like the uncertainty mechanical principle of quantum mechanics, where we can't know the position and momentum of a quantum particle at the same time. Basically, we bring that into existence by observing them, which is kind of similar and it's kind of where these two ideas start to kind of come together, at least sort of. So continuing down my YouTube rabbit hole of existential crisis, I found a 2-part video by the amazing channels Kurzgesagt and Vsauce 3. I will link the videos Vsauce, but this is Vsauce 3 because there's actually 3 channels of Vsauce with different hosts. But this guy's good too. It's the lower production value one. He's the new guy, but still good. I will actually link the videos in my source notes, of course. But these videos specifically talk about a theory known as the simulation argument, which is specifically the modern variant proposed by Oxford philosopher Nick Bostrom. So in this theory, Bostrom states that there are actually 3 possibilities in regards to a simulated reality. And he actually showed, arguably, that at least one of them is true, which is kind of where it gets interesting, but still cool. So the first possibility, according to this theory, is that all human-like civilizations go extinct before they develop the technology to create simulated realities. So basically, this is stating doesn't exist. Because if any civilization gets to, if you're looking at the Kardashev scale, like I guess there'd probably be a type 3 civilization. Basically, it won't even get that far. It will always kill itself. So it's a moot point to even think that this might be a simulated reality, because civilization cannot possibly get to that extent. It kind of ties in, again, the Kardashev scale. It ties in the Fermi paradox, which is kind of the theory that aliens should be everywhere. We should be able to see them everywhere, and for some reason we can't, and we don't know why. Which also ties into the idea of the Great Filter, which is, again, kind of going off of the same concepts of there's going to be a point with life always has a point where either it can't jump over the next hurdle, whether it be getting off a planet to actually propagate, or it's just so uncommon that we humans are the first intelligent life in history, and it's so unbelievably difficult to get to this point that other civilizations, there's no other life that could possibly do it again. So that's the first possibility. Civilization go extinct before it ever gets that far. The second possibility of the theory is that a civilization that does reach technical capabilities would not even bother to run simulations, because they don't give a shit. They have the technology, they have it, they're at such a high level of science and technology that this is too simple for them. They're on planes of existence we have no concept of. That's kind of the second theory. Go ahead.
My argument with that theory is some damn alien kid would totally do it for a science project.
You would think. But again, this is just a possibility. It's not saying it's true.
Maybe
it's just saying
beyond science projects.
Again, it's the concept of like comparing an ant to a human. Like, they're both equally valid in terms of life, but the ant has no physical concept of what a human is, much less
technology is.
Yeah, much less what we could even fathom. So it's kind of on that same type of scale as what people think. Now, the third possibility is probably the most interesting, and it is that a civilization with the ability to create one simulated reality would in fact create thousands, millions, or even more simulated realities. And it's the most interesting because a lot of scientists, as well as philosophers and even some like theologians, kind of believe that this is the most likely possibility, due to the realization that you would need to have more simulated realities. Or if you wanted to have more simulated realities, you would just, all you need is more computing power. It's simple as that. So if you could build one, why wouldn't you build 2 or 3 or 1 million or constantly building more? So like, take our reality, for example. If you wanted to just simulate the consciousness of, say, 200 billion humans, which is arguably all of history, it's a rough estimate of every human that's ever existed, you would need a computer capable of 1 million trillion calculations per second, which is 10 to the 40th power per second, which is more calculations per second than there are stars in the entire universe. It is a level of computing that, like, any sci-fi IT nerd would just cream himself over. It's unbelievably big. Brandon, keep it in your pants. Anyways, I'm just saying. So that computer could be known as what would be like, I'm going to say this wrong, but I know at least Brandon knows what this is. A Matryoshka brain? Is that right?
Oh,
I'm saying it wrong.
Yeah, it's Russian.
I think it's Matryoshka brain is kind of what I found. I'm probably saying it wrong. Matryoshka. There you go. Sorry, Russia. You're doing your own thing right now, but we apologize anyways. So basically,
your science is still valid.
Exactly. So this is a computer powered by the radiation of a whole star, and again, it's millions of orders of magnitude more than what we have capable right now. It's so far in the future, it may as well be like we're talking be the ability to simulate everything in reality. And again, if a civilization gets to the point where they can build a computer of this power, Why would they only build one? They could obviously build one. They could build another brain and simulate another reality. They could.
Yep.
There's all these stars. It's just that's the third possibility. So this basically means that if reality can be simulated, basically thinking about all the stars, all the possibilities, everything, it almost makes it inevitable that this is a simulated reality. Because for every one, according to this theory, for every one real organism, there's trillions of simulated organisms with the ability to think, with the ability to feel, with what we're doing right now, according to this theory. So yeah, just with the sheer numbers, it's just inevitable. This is why this is considered the most likely of the three, because if one civilization can do it, there's millions of realities simulated, so forth. But that's kind of what I learned about this week. It's it actually is kind of inspiring another project I'm working on for a presentation here. It's going to be on gigastructures, of which the Matryoshka brain is probably going to be next week. And it's, again, the rabbit hole is getting bigger. The Matrix is showing me a lot more interesting shit that I'm going to be talking about on this podcast.
Okay, I have a book series I have a few book recommendations because of this topic. Okay, so you want to learn more about superstructures and some interesting thought experiments. And these are all fiction books, so they're super fun to read, but some of the science behind it is actually real. Bobaverse. The Bobaverse is what you want to read. It's about a guy who freezes his head. Yep. So the later books deal with some superstructures, and they also deal with the Matryoshka brain. It's excellent book series. Very, very well written, very well thought out.
Bobaverse.
Audiobooks are available in it, and I don't remember who does the narration, but it's very good. Then the whole simulated reality, there's 2 different book series. So NPC by, where did I put that tab? By Jeremy Robinson. Talks about what if there's only a few real people, like this is a interactive simulation and there are only a few real people and everyone else is NPCs, and like there's different level of NPCs, and it is a book that will leave you like mentally fucked up for about a week, because it's like,
cool shit.
Holy crap. Okay.
Yeah, when you put your mind in this type of mindset, like there's a reason why not a lot, but some scientists are arguing that's at least this theory, and because this isn't the newest, it's been around since, well, early 1900s or so, like ever since computers even had an idea. They're saying it's, in terms of theology, they're melding technology and theology together. They're saying some are saying it's like the biggest revolution in theology in thousands of years, because it's a completely new way to think about a quote-unquote creator. And it's utterly fascinating. I personally don't believe we're in a simulation, but again, that's exactly what a simulation would say, so who the fuck knows anymore.
So the one comment I have about this is that given, and maybe this is kind of like the same thing as the religion comment, is given ethics in the future, would you then have organisms, or not organisms, programs that are self-aware and put them through pain?
See, that's a whole other aspect of it. It blows my fucking mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the freaking, what was it, the last week or a couple weeks ago when I mentioned the brain cells ticked, or the Pong game.
Yeah.
And you're like,
yeah.
Who's say that's not some version
True.
of consciousness?
Maybe we are doing it right
maybe
now.
we're already doing it. I mean,
well, and I mean, it's so much easier to like type something in, program it, and then because you're the one that programmed it, why would you think that it's anything other than a program? It's just code that runs and outputs results.
Yeah, I mean, if you code it in the ability to feel and be in pain and die and all this shit, like
it's necessary to see the response of simulations. I mean,
which is
think about ships in Star Citizen, how they're physicalizing ships in Star Citizen by, putting material strength and thickness and ricochet and everything in by physicalizing that. That's just taking it to the next step,
Yeah,
they're kind of doing that with the in-game bodies too, where if you get shot in the shoulder, well, now you can't use that arm. We're like very minutely already kind of doing
we're getting
the self-aware part, I think, is the big leap. That's the leap.
Well, it's like I'll even tie it to a past discussion we had about was it was cyber enhancements? Is that the one we did? It was a few months back where we talked about uploading your consciousness into it's the same concept of if you are able to upload your consciousness, like you could program yourself to experience millions of realities. Technically, I mean, it all ties together in some way. It's utterly fascinating when you put your head in the big picture idea. But that's what I learned about this week. So found it interesting. I guess I have had an interesting week then. I thought.
Yeah, very interesting week. Yeah. That was my week last week going, oh God, what if we are NPCs?
Who's to say that, everyone likes to think they're the hero, the protagonist of their own story, but not everyone.
You're just the guy selling swords to random vendors.
You're just a store merchant in the back.
Well, and Luke was asking me what I was reading. And so I tried to explain it to him, and it's like, he didn't really get it. And I'm like, okay, I know I'm self-aware. I know I'm sentient. I think, therefore I am. How do I know you are? How do I know that you're a real person and not just my eternal torment?
So you have a child just to mess with them.
Oh, mercy me. Well, see, and then I'm sure he would go like, how the hell do I know you're fucking real, Dad? So what the hell?
Yeah. Oh, he did. He went there. He's like, well, how do I know you're real? And it's like,
I was going to say,
you don't.
And if you're not real, I don't have to listen to you.
You're not my real dad.
None of this matters. Pain.
What's the
dad? Black makeup, Jerry.
Oh, fucking season 5. Anyways, but let's change it up a little bit and let's get to a core of it. Tim, what you talking about?
A couple of little short topics that I found interesting. The Earth's core, I always thought the theory was that the Earth's core was just a solid hunk of iron. But it's turned out there's been some new studies. And not only what they tested, they put what's called a S wave through a seismic wave called a shear or S wave. This is a 2021 study. And it moved through the planet's interior and revealed that the inner core isn't solid iron, but is instead composed of a mushy material consisting of iron, an alloy of iron atoms, lighter elements such as oxygen and carbon. They weren't sure about the actual structure, but now what they believe is it's more of it's like a lattice work of iron in which these other elements move through, and they move through with convection. And this movement is also maybe part of the explanation as to the magnetic field. The atoms are arranged into repeating grids, and they've done some core simulations. Now they're calling this I've never heard this term before. The atoms will be transformed into a super ionic alloy. And that's, excuse me, I'm losing my voice. That's where the convection currents of these other elements can move through this mush, through this lattice work of iron. So that's one thing I found interesting, and it's the movement that may have helped generate our magnetic field, which if we didn't have a magnetic field, we'd be in big trouble on this planet.
Not alive.
We
Yeah.
would. There'd be no life. We'd be barren wasteland.
So that's the first story that I, excuse me, I read into. And another one is a friend of mine has geothermal at his house, and we're talking in the prairies of Canada. And it has definitely paid for himself. I don't know how many years he's had it. It takes quite a while to pay for itself, but usually you think of geothermal in areas like Iceland, places where they where they have the magma is a little closer to the surface. But even in a place as cold as Canadian prairies, geothermal is still good. It's not his main source of energy, but it really reduces the amount of other non-renewable sources of electricity that he uses at his house. It helps cool in the summer and it helps heat in the winter. Now, there's a company that's developed a new technology that drills with microwaves. Now, I don't know if it's how much they prove this concept. They just got $40 million in startup, and it's a company that's spun out of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, or MIT. So it's probably got some good credentials behind it. But they say that they will be able to drill down 12 miles. So you could probably have a geothermal just about anywhere. And the idea is you could drill right next to a power distribution plant and put it right there. So this is one of those things that they hope that technology and the private industry and all that can actually solve some of our long-term global warming problems, because geothermal energy would be a great. Now I'm sure somebody someday is going to say, "Oh, you keep on taking the heat out of the earth. What's going to happen?" But
it's the equivalent to someone saying that if we use wind power, we're going to stop the wind. Like, no, that's not how it works.
Yeah. No, I mean, the gravity is just going to keep on, crushing things together and whatnot. And let me see, what else can I say here? They're talking about 2028 when it should be up and running.
It's actually really, really interesting, because geothermal power it's like one of those transition energies that we hear about when we're going away from fossil fuels to quote unquote renewable, because arguably it is basically a renewable energy source, but it's also a pain in the ass to actually utilize.
Yep.
So it's kind of it's seen as a transition energy to hopefully a cleaner energy in the future. But if they can make it sustainable and not prohibitively expensive, that would be really freaking cool.
Here's the interesting thing too, and this is their long-term plan is to I'll read this to approach power plants running on fossil fuels and offer to drill geothermal fields customized to match their existing equipment. The fields will sit on a footprint 100 to 1,000 times less than what is needed for solar or wind. So a smaller area will be needed. Once hooked up, it's basically business as usual. Turbines create electricity and feed it to the grid and to the existing infrastructure.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
cool.
Yeah.
That's cool as shit.
And those are my topics, short and sweet.
Nice.
That's pretty awesome.
That microwave drill reminds me of the movie The Core, because that's what they used in.
No, they used a laser drill. It wasn't a microwave. It was like
I thought it was microwave laser.
Oh, well, I guess
the problem with regular
is to watch it.
The problem with regular drill bits is that they'll start to melt when they start to get down too close.
Well, it's like what happened
because at 12 miles down, it's 930 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, I think with that super deep borehole that the Russians dug, like something ridiculous, like 11 miles, just straight down, just to see how far they could go, and that's what happened. Their equipment started to melt because of the heat of the core. So, yeah, cool
and
shit.
they say it will vaporize boreholes, and basically it just leaves a smooth. The vaporized rock is pumped back to the surface, and the heat vitrifies the side of the hole, turning it into basically a glass pipe.
Yeah, smooth. Yeah. So we like them holes, them boreholes.
So hopefully they can do something. Okay. nothing else to talk about, so I guess I'll move on.
That's an interesting topic.
Yeah.
Cody.
Oh God, I got it. Okay, Cody, go ahead. I'm not going to read the topic again. I don't get paid by the word.
I have started getting back into a game called Stormworks recently. Yep, yeah, because I have the need to engineer. And something that I have had to learn as I was building something is something that actually I realized a lot of games these days have in common. Probably most famously, Minecraft. Although Minecraft doesn't do it in the most complicated way. And I'm curious, what... Dracanis, I want you to hazard a guess at what this is that I'm talking about.
It's either going to be creation or inventory or...
It's got to be server side, right? Talking server side
crafting.
stuff?
Nope, it's... Okay, so... And I'm not giving you enough clues, and that's the problem. So it's actually logic. And
Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
yeah, so
Yep.
so Minecraft, you can create logic switches, which I just forgot the names for. But what I'm talking about
Redstone.
is like and, or, NAND, NOR,
Transistors.
XAND.
Pure
Logic.
basics of computing.
Boolean logic.
Exactly. And this is something that I've had to learn in Stormworks because it's important to make your machine go or do something. And I found it as I was going through this, and I'm not going to get to like T flip-flops or anything like that because I haven't. That's way more advanced. So what this is you've got, I believe Tim said it, Boolean logic. So you've got one or more inputs, and then you want a desired output. And this is either going to be true or false. For instance, the simplest one is probably the NOT, which is basically an inverter. So if you have a on, and then the output will be off. If you have off, the output will be on. So, or you have the OR switch, which is probably the next simplest, which is you have two inputs, and then you have an output. And the output is either if this is on, or this is on, so this could be off, then your output will be on. If this is off, this is on, your output will still be on. If both of them are on, your output is on. If neither of them are on, your output is off. And then there's the AND, which is basically the opposite of that. So, of course, this is reversed, but I'll put this in the video so you can see what I'm talking about.
On our side, at least.
Yep,
Yeah.
It's straight on your side, but unfortunately the way that it records. So here's the actual gates, logic gates. Sorry, I forgot the name of them for some reason. But what's interesting is how many games actually feature these. So for instance, this is Starbound, which actually features logic gates. This is Fallout 4, which actually features logic gates. Now, it is in a... I think it's a DLC that you have to get where you can actually get the logic gates because Bethesda. Let's see. Minecraft. Now these are ones that you just create out of redstone, which is basically the electricity of the Minecraft world. And then of course we have Stormworks, which has this insanity. This is not... Yeah. But the things that you can do with this, any of the green lines are not technically logic gates because the green lines represent a numerical value rather than a on or off. But any of the red lines are just an on or off. So for instance, these I believe are AND gates. I always get the AND gate symbol mixed up with the OR symbol. Now, why I say 7...
Now, if I remember correctly, before I get too far, isn't it like the numerical value is still an input of the gate, right? I can't remember. It still can change the state of the gate.
So
depending on whatever settings you set up.
And I'm not sure if those are still counted as logic gates, but there's things like threshold gates where you can have a numerical input into the gate, and if the numerical input is within this range, then it will output an on signal, for instance. So basically, you're converting a numerical value to an on and off value, is what a threshold gate does. Then there's all, like in Stormworks at least, there's all these other types of things that you can add, like numerical switch boxes, which is basically if it receives a Boolean input, it switches between two different numerical inputs as an output. And then what's the other thing? There's up-down counters, which basically you can have a up or a down Boolean input. So if one of those is, if your up value is on, then it basically moves a numerical value up. And then if you have a down input, it moves the numerical value down in steps. And then it can output that numerical value. So the reason why I say 7 Days to Die doesn't quite have it is because they only have really one of these, which is OR. And that's because the way electricity is set up in that game is only in a line. There's no way to have multiple inputs to one thing, so you can't have the AND, because it's linear. So, for instance, you have an input, and then a line, and then another input, and then something that does something. So, an activator, or activatee. And it's either this one or this one, but it can't ever be this one and this one.
It's Brandon, help me out here. What's that form of coding where like it's the very first part of when you're thinking of a program?
Oh,
pseudocoding or something.
Pseudocode.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's actually very similar to that style. It's super fascinating. Basically
just
the same thing.
Logic. Yep.
Without all the bells and whistles.
It's interesting that games have gotten to this point where really, like, there used to be the argument of, like, games are learning experiences, and that was kind of a mushy argument where, playing Doom really isn't teaching you a lot of things. It might be teaching you like navigation skills,
tactics, strategy,
not Doom.
Time management, inventory management. I'm just saying.
I'm saying 1995 Doom.
I know. I'm saying that too.
Where you start getting into Minecraft, which is actually used in schools now. And then you get into things like Stormworks or into Scrap Mechanic, where they have these real-world logic gates that are built into computers, that are built into, for instance, in my condo, I have, and this has been a mind, fuck for me, is how to have two light switches control one light, but not to be able to have them where they reset. And there's some electrician out there that's probably yelling the answer at the screen, but I haven't figured it out yet.
Comment below.
You beat me. Well, shit.
So, I mean, these gates are used in, like, everything we interact with on a daily basis. And they've just been fascinating to me.
That's sort of how our brains, in a sense, work, and how AI, they just rewire the past. I mean, learn different ways of doing it. It's all basics.
It's all just simulation, baby.
Yeah, there we go.
Yep. We're
a
tying
little,
it back.
A little aside, you mentioned Minecraft, and I'm trying to find the article, but there's an article about Minecraft and maybe crypto. Have you seen anything on that?
Yeah,
A crypto from based on Minecraft. I don't quite understand it yet, but I didn't completely read the article. I just saw the
maybe
headline.
some servers with virtual property, or I could see there could be an implementation there.
Or how about rather than GPU mining, you have to do Minecraft mining to find your bits.
Well, with the GPU shortage,
so
you
you're
could just build a
verifying-
GPU in Minecraft and have that mine.
So you're verifying your transactions through
Why not?
real
Why
mining?
not? It's all
Yeah.
just code.
Through
would be the
just
slowest.
like digging through
all
the
part of the
entirety of the world.
Simulation.
Exactly.
Your transaction. I'm sorry. This transaction. You're trying to send Bitcoin to somebody else. This will take approximately 2,000 hours of somebody playing Minecraft in order for this to get verified.
Great financial system to base it on. It's all Minecraft. It's all Minecraft.
Emerald?
Oh.
Oh my god. So yeah, that's pretty much my topic. I've learned a few of these gates, but not very many of them, and definitely nothing totally advanced in order to make my boat run in a game.
Gotta
Yeah,
save
try
the little
building-
peoples.
Try building and the rabbit hole started when I was trying to build a somewhat automatic transmission system to be able to control a clutch and control the engine throttle, and to be able to go, I want to shift a gear, so I want to press, 1 to go up a gear, or 2 to go up a gear, but 1 to go down a gear. And I don't want to have to manually deal with the clutch when doing that. I just want it to happen where the clutch changes when I hit that button. Well,
That's all.
it turns
That's
out
all
you
coding
create
and engineering. That's all of
something
human history. It's
like-
just
like
pressing a
this in
button
order to do that.
make it easier. It's
Yeah,
laziness.
and this
That is the
is-
driving
this
thing
is-
of everything.
This is the kind of stuff that's behind that button press to do one thing, is something like, or as it says, a convoluted mess.
May
a
as well be
somewhat-
magic.
Yeah. So that's what I learned, or am learning this week.
Okay.
Well, we're right about the hour mark, boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We gonna wrap it up, or what we thinking here? What we doing? What we feeling right now?
Colton, why
It's
don't you tell us where we can find you?
Oh, show you where to feel me too. Anyways, I don't know why I'm in a weird mood right now. Anyways, again, blew my mind.
He's
my
cold.
topic,
All
so-
of the energy. I can see him clutching his coat.
Fuck.
He just
I
wants
moved-
warmth from
I
somebody
moved to
else.
this goddamn desert to get away from this shit, and it followed me. I swear to God.
Just
But,
come here. I'm running
on
the
the-
air
But it's a
conditioning.
dry cold.
Dry cold my ass. It's a cold is what it is. It's in your bones. But on hopefully a better note, my name is Colton Roper. You can find me on all the socials as Seeker4761. And also on twitch.tv/Seeker4761, where I stream pretty consistently. Randomly, I've been streaming a game called 5D Time Travel Chess. So, speaking of blowing your mind, I'll show you guys. It's a fascinating game. I do not understand it, but we've been playing a lot of it. Also a contributor to thetechpirate.net as well. And I shall send it to Tim.
Mine's easy. It's Our Thai Journey on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And to Cody.
I am Cody Stratman, also known as Zito Valder on the Insta, also known as Striving to Fail on the YouTube. the YouTube, so I sound like I'm ancient.
Tubes.
YouTube children.
Yes.
Ah,
And
the
Do
really
you
TV
watch the
box.
YouTube?
I wish to make a tweet.
Are you on
the
the
Tweety bird.
Facebook?
I am. Yeah, actually, I am also striving to fail on Facebook. I am on the Facebook. I forget who I am on the Twitter, but
On the Twitters?
On the tweeters?
yeah, I don't really care
Twitch?
about Twitter. That's more for like me to get information than you to find me. I guess if you find me, you find me. Well, I do whatever you do on Twitter. I still don't really know.
Tweet?
Maybe
Twote?
I am old. Yeah. How does the... Yeah. Anyway, I'm not a
him.
news outlet. I have nothing to tweet. You don't care about my life. Brandon, go. What do you tweet about?
Random fun shit that I find. I actually need to start putting up what I'm reading. Yeah. That NPC book, that author has a ton of other stuff, and it's all kind of mind-blowing. It's good stuff. But, well, he has a lot of other stuff, too. He does kaiju books, which is interesting.
Monster books?
Kaiju.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Huh.
That's
Wait,
some of them. I
wait.
haven't read them.
It's not the one you showed me, is it?
No.
Okay, good. All right. That's for after TWIL. It's fine. After dark.
Yeah, that's for after hours. Anyway, I'm Brandon Vader. You can find me as Captain Dracanus on Twitch, where I'm going to start streaming more regularly. This week I was going to start, and then things got chaotic, and then the next couple weeks are chaos. But eventually I will be on. I'm also trying to get that handle on all of the socials, so eventually that'll work. But you can find me here every week and on thetechpirate.net. And yeah, thanks for joining us on this episode of This Week I'm Learning. You can find us wherever you listen to podcasts, as well as on YouTube at This Week I'm Learning. For your social media peeps out there, you can find us on Twitter at ThisTWIL. If you'd like to contact us, you can of course send an email to twil@techpirate.net. We'll see y'all next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
After TWIL, ill.
Yeah, no, it was not. This is not the guy who made Making Monster Girls for Science.
Okay,
Damn it.
I was
Which-
about to ask.
which is
do these
hilarious.
mon-
You know,
I was gonna say it's actually very
tentacles?
funny.
there's a couple who do these things in Britain. They got a YouTube channel where they make these radio things for radio stations all around the world and YouTubers and so on. These audio bits, just like you tried to do after TWIL. Radio. I'll try to send you guys a link to the YouTube link, but you can write your own and send it into them, and they do what's called Free Fridays, where they'll make one for you for free if you get lucky enough to get accepted.
I mean, we are a big deal. I'm sure they'd love to team up on this one.
No, actually, they would probably do one for somebody who's not making any money at it.
Oh, good. They're perfect.
I would think we'd be a better worth a shot, but you'd have to write your own thing, and you'd have to make just a regular voice recording, and then they'll do their magic. I'll send you the links to the YouTube channel and what he can do.
It's not like Cameo, is it?
Amazing. He also they do it for work. That is their actual business. Gosh, now I can't remember his name. I watch a lot of his videos. It's amazing things with Adobe Audition. I'll go look for it right now while you guys chat. Go onto my channel.
Talking.
I don't know what.
Talk